Hey, what's up YouTube? Skybedge here, and we're back at the end of what would be week 9? Yep, roughly week 9. You know, give or take a little bit, give or take one day. So, let's start by having a look at the index nations. As you can see, we've fallen back a few places. We haven't fallen back too far. So, our enemies, Maddie here and Iron, the bad guys in this war, they are first and second. Now, our ally, Equatorial Gabon, I think it is, yeah, Equatorial Gabon, has risen to third. Illinois, who is an enemy, but we're not fighting him, so yeah, he's risen to fourth, and Lord General Kevin, who is in charge of South Mexico, has risen to sixth, just up behind us. Now, in this war so far, we have lost land, we've gained new land, and we're not doing too bad. Now, what we're waiting for is, as you can see, our ally Equatorial Gabon has taken a lot of land and has risen a lot. We're waiting for him to finish off taking South America, and then we should have his support in Europe. In the meantime, I've just got to hold Maddie and Fawn back. So we're going to have a look at the casualties so far, and you know, kind of give you guys an idea of how things are going. So if we just start by having a look at the world's mightiest armies, we can see that our enemy Volga has 21% of the forces, North Ural has 12, and we're on 9. So collectively, they should outnumber us roughly 3 to 1. But if we have a look at the casualties, it's quite the opposite. For every casualty we've taken against North Ural, he's taken roughly 3. And if we go down a bit more and have a look against Volga, which that stat should be right down here somewhere. Where is it? Well, let's just go to myself. Should have made sure the stat existed before I started the video. Okay, we'll just go back a day because I know the stat exists then. Okay, myself, yeah. So we can, if we have a look here, although we're not doing as good against him, he's still taken 269,000 more casualties than we have. Now, that is a lot. That is a lot of men, and it shows, you know, how good our tactical positions are. So if we come up here, we have lost a lot of ground in Europe. We were holding position, sorry, up here. And we have since fallen back quite a fair bit. What happened was our troops were spread too thin, and we were just getting hammered. We were taking equal casualties on both sides in conflicts, just because I didn't have enough troops in defensive positions. So I made the decisions to retreat. Now, we did lose a lot of cities. We lost Berlin, Prague, Paris, however you pronounce that, I don't know. And we fell back to right here, a choke point. And with this choke point, I have since, made them take a lot of casualties. We've held defensive positions here for roughly 2 days, and they just keep throwing themselves at these forts and losing troops. Now, sorry again, it's only a matter of time before they bring rockets to the front. I've been using my tactical bombers to thin out rockets to stop them from getting to the front, but if they get rockets to this front line, then we may lose it. We need to hold this for, my ally reckons, roughly 2 to 3 more days, and then he'll be out of help. So we've got our own rockets moving forwards, and we're going to absolutely decimate those positions soon. I've also got my navy acting as artillery. Yeah, so if we have a look in Greece, we can see that we have taken a lot of casualties and we've been pushed back a fair bit. Now, initially, they pushed us all the way back down to here, this line here, but because we were able to hold on to Athens and Spartarai, I don't know how to pronounce it, we were able to reinforce the positions and push them back slightly. He's got tanks marching forward, so we're going to not bother fighting that. We can't get enough troops there in time to defend it, so we're going to fall back and we're going to focus on defending here and here. Hopefully he comes in and attacks. Both those positions are in range of our battleships, so they will provide artillery support. We have a few rockets. Had a few rockets. Oh yeah, use them on that. That was like a group of 20-ish. It just destroyed it. That's no longer a threat, but we have to worry about this now. Down here, as you can see, we've lost all of our land in here, but we've inflicted major casualties on the enemy, and we have pushed them out of South Africa. They did briefly get in, and we pushed them out. It was a hard battle. Now, these subs are going to be huge problems. I don't have enough destroyers in this lower region to help target those. As you can see, they're monitoring this border. Because I think my enemies are in a similar position as me, where they don't have much time to play, is they're blindly sending troops to their death. Just 12 hours ago, I destroyed a group very similar to this, just because he just tried to send it across the ocean. This battle group, like, if we have a look, 23 kills. That happened like the course of like 2 hours. So that is a good bonus. Now, as you can see, our resources are looking pretty good. I've got barracks open and they're producing infantry all the time, as we did not have the metal to produce enough tanks. So we're keeping our industrial area busy with building infantry. Now, I just had a few tactical bombers finished, so there will be a few gaps, but as you can see, we were producing a lot of infantry and air. Now that these are open again, I'm going to start building. I think I can afford one tactical bomber and maybe an interceptor. Just keep these going because we need to keep our air force in a strong position. So we're going to get these going again, and then we've ran out of oil already. Our oil is pretty good, but we're also building ships and stuff at the moment, so we'll get these. Well, no, barracks. We have plenty of food and we have plenty of goods and manpower, so we can afford to buy heaps of infantry. It's just draining our food slowly. This time last week we had 300,000 food and we're down, but we are looking good. Because Volta went inactive, we have claimed a lot of his land. There is still a little bit left to claim, but that will help give us the resources we need to continue fighting this, and this is how our score victory points have stayed so high. So in the weeks to come, days to come rather, I expect more troops to be crossing onto our front line. As you can see, North Ural is pouring them in, pretty undefended, but they do have to cross the biggest obstacle, and that is the ocean. It costs 3 hours or 4 hours time to cross at each side, so that's 8 hours where they're sitting still. Now that makes them very vulnerable. I'm building rockets at the moment, so as you can see, I've got some rockets here, I've got some rockets down here, which cover most of the coast. So when they're stopped, we'll just destroy them. That's how it works until our ally can help out. I'm waiting for these rockets to get in position up here, so I can absolutely destroy this defensive position right here that the enemy's holding, because we have ships over here, and they'll deal a lot of damage to those. So that's what we're doing. Like this group here, this time roughly 12 hours ago, that group was the same size as that. I think it was even bigger, 14 units, and slowly our battleships and cruisers have dwindled it down. So if we have a look at our research at the moment, I am researching commandos, which is something I've never actually done before. I've never really used them too much, but I figured they'd be something good to give a go, and I also am making a video about commandos in the future, so I kind of need to build some commandos to do that video. So we're working on commandos, and we're also upgrading our anti-tank. Considering we're building a lot of infantry, that will be the next thing we upgrade. At the moment, we've got level 4. Getting that up to max is a priority. As you can see, although they have a lot of armor, they have a lot more infantry. Like if we zoom out for a second, most of the units you see are infantry units, and they don't have very much infantry themselves. So they're sending, like one infantry unit is going to attack another infantry unit, like an anti-tank, for example, with 1.5. They'll attack with that, but because they have infantry, which is great against infantry, they'll be defending with 7 roughly. It's better than sending tanks at them, which only do 5. So this is one of the few scenarios where I've mass-produced infantry. Like as you can see, it's taking a huge toll. My upgrades in maintaining buildings at the moment is at 5,600, which is a lot of food. But it needs to be done, and we need to keep our production rate up. If we have a look at how many troops we have, we are really outnumbered. So if we go into info, we have 202 troops. But if we have a look at North Ural, who we have a reveal all by the looks of, he has roughly 300 troops, a lot more than us. And if I remember rightly, I'm not sure if we have a reveal all on him, but he has roughly 700, I think it was. Oh, better than I thought. Must be down. Yeah, so he has 559. So combined, we are really outnumbered 4 to 1. But they lack any naval power. North Ural has a lot of submarines, and that is a huge problem. Like if we have a look down here, heaps and heaps of submarines, just keep sending them. Well, there was a lot down here before. I'm kind of worried about where they went. Yeah, that's not good. There was like 20 of them down here yesterday. Ah, that might be them there. Yeah, 29. Lovely. Yeah, it has a lot of submarines. We did destroy a group of 20 up here before, but it did cost us 3 battleships, 3 carriers, 5 cruisers to destroy just 25 submarines. Wasn't worth it. So that's what's happening here at the moment. As you can see, I was hoping this unit here would pull forward and try head in more mainland, but it clearly hasn't. Now, depending on where he goes from here, we should be able to send these troops to reinforce the positions in time. If I remember rightly, I do have some rockets available. I hope I have some rockets available. Yeah, I have 1 rocket available here, and that put a big dent in that. Like, that is a lot of infantry units. Yeah, so he does have a lot more upgraded units than us. If we go and have a look at the most advanced nations, which was yesterday's statistic, because we're on day. Yeah, that's where we're at the moment. But yesterday's statistic, we can see who the most advanced forces are, and we can also see who's been using gold. So I keep my research going all the time, give or take maybe an hour or 2 each day. But an hour or 2 each day does not give you the ability to get 69%. So it is clear that Illinois has been using gold. That is, like, I don't understand if he was at 45 maybe, but to get that far ahead, he's clearly been using gold to upgrade his troops. So we need to keep an eye on him, and we need to try never fight him. Simple as that. We don't fight gold players, or else they destroy you, and then you just go back to square one, and you have nothing to show for your progress. So he's someone we're not going to want to fight. But we do have our ally Equatorial Gabon, who I do believe has been using gold. Although a 7% difference isn't too much, you would have used it probably sparingly and not as much as Illinois. Other than that, it's safe to say that all the other players are looking fairly regular, although Volga has been using a lot of rare material to build nukes, so I doubt he has what's required to upgrade. So if we have a look at our espionage, and we have a look here, he has 90 rare. He should be, he should definitely be upgrading with that much rare. He's been trading a lot of it with his allies, so that's where he's getting a lot of it from. Now, I do also believe that he may be using gold to some extent as well, because if we have a look at his manpower, he is a big country, but if we go back another day, can't I go back another day? Oh, I can, there we go. Oh wait, maybe it just loaded. Oh, we didn't go back one day too far. Maybe I did. Oh, that was a message about me. I probably already read it. What does it say? Oh no. Loaded the previous day. So yeah. So if we have a look at this, he has 50 manpower here. If we have a look at our own rate, as you know, day 61, he has 50 manpower. On the day before, he is up to 50,000. We have a pretty strong rate. It's not much. 1,000 a day. He could theoretically get, if he didn't build any troops, he could build up from 50 manpower to 50,000, which he had on the next day. Although that is incredibly unrealistic, considering in the spy info I've had a look at, he is also constantly building troops. So he could be using gold by manpower. So why is accusing people of gold important? It, keeps you know who to watch, because these people who use gold, especially when they get this big, they don't give up easily. So what we need to do at this point is we need to be realistic with ourselves. Can we win this? The truth is, with Gabon, yeah, I reckon we can. But if Gabon was out at this point, I'd be looking at trying to ally myself with them at this point, because gold users, it takes money to buy gold, and that's money that can be spent elsewhere. And I have met gold users in the past that will say, you're causing me a lot of trouble. Just come to peace. We'll just retire when there's 3 players left. But I do not see that being a reality in this case, as we will have to fight on, as he is allied with North Ural and South Mexico, so that will not work. So that's what's happening at the moment. Not much. I've warned our ally about these already. I have known about them for a few more days. He has a little more longer to prepare and get troops there, but you gotta You know, that's a lot of troops, and when they all land at separate beachheads, it is going to be a lot of problem. But the problem is they're so spread out. If it won't take much to stop them, especially if they're just on the beach. But I'm not sure if he has the troops left to defend against that. So that is going to be a big problem. So see you next week, I guess.